swear, the second I got my mojo, because you know sometimes it takes a couple of takes before you start to like really get into the video. As soon as that happened, here comes this truck making a ton of noise that I'm hoping is not being picked up too much on the camera, but let's hope. Anyway, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the Style and Beauty Doctor here on YouTube. Today we're going to be talking about the Ilia Super Serum Skin Tint SPF 40. It's a tinted mineral sunscreen that has some really cool makeup properties. I checked it out, I got a couple of the deeper shades, and we're going to talk about it. So keep watching. So we've been covering a lot of mineral sunscreens for dark skin here on this channel. This is probably video number 6, so make sure you check out my playlist. I will link it in the description box, as well as a blog post that I wrote on the best mineral sunscreens that I've tried so far. That's a post that I'm constantly updating as I do more videos, so make sure you bookmark it. And if you want to know which sunscreens I've tried so far, that blog post, as well as looking at the description box of the mineral sunscreen videos that I've done, will be very beneficial in letting you know which sunscreens I've tried so far. Another little tip is you can go on the YouTube search and put Style and Beauty Doctor and then whatever the name of the product is, and it'll come up. So you don't have to be asking, did you try this? Did you try this? Did you try this? You know, the power is in your hands. So anyway, let's get into this Ilia Super Serum Skin Tint SPF 40. I'm on the Sephora.com website giving you the official description of this product. So what it is, a clean. Now, clean is not a regulated term. The FDA has not set out guidelines as to, you know, in order to be clean, you need to have X, Y, Z. There's no guidelines. So clean is really a marketing term because it can mean anything, and brands use it to kind of, you know, elicit a certain kind of emotion and response from consumers. I think we should talk about that in a future video. Make sure you're subscribed and turn your notifications on so you don't miss it when I do that. But it's described as a clean, tinted mineral SPF 40 serum with light, dewy coverage that provides skincare benefits. It has a light coverage, dewy finish. You can use this if you have normal, dry, combo, oily skin. And remember, sensitive is not a skin type. And it's an SPF of 40. And then some of the highlight ingredients, plant-based squalene, non-nano zinc oxide, hyaluronic acids, niacinamide, and of course some other things to, you know, make the product a product. So I picked up the 4 deepest shades. There are 18 shades in total, which if you're thinking of it like a foundation product, you might be like 18 shades isn't enough. But typically, coverage products that are light in coverage, one shade can actually work for a number of people as opposed to like a full coverage foundation where it's going to be like, girl, it's obvious. I can see that your foundation is not matching. So I think 18 shades, especially for something that has, you know, mineral sunscreen properties in it, I think 18 shades is a lot actually. I got shades 15, 16, 17, and 18, which have proper names, which, you know, if you go in the description box, you'll get those. So I wound up with a shade 16 as my match. Now, when I was initially like looking at this product, I'm like, okay, what's going to be my match? I thought 17 would be a better match because when you look at, first of all, you have to shake this up a lot because the you know, the product can tend to separate. And you shake it up, shake it up really nicely. And then, you know, I'd like to put the product on the back of my hand. Now, this shade 16, and I'll do swatches of all 4, looked like it was not. It looked a little light, you know what I'm saying? So I went to shade 17, here's shade 16, and then here's shade 17. So when I put this on, shade 17, it looked a bit deep for my complexion, but I kind of liked how it was kind of giving me like a nice like, oh, you darling, you've been in the sun. Until it started to settle and I was like, oh God, this is way too dark for me. But here's the thing when it comes to picking your shade. You don't want to judge by what's coming out of the bottle because it's going to look lighter once it comes out the bottle. You want to instead get it in your skin, blend it in, give it a minute, and it'll adjust to its true color. Because what's going to happen is, which was what happened to me, I was like, oh, you know, shade 17, as I was putting it on, I could tell like this is a little too dark for me, but then when it adjusted after a minute, it was like, oh, okay, this is way too dark. So something like this, I would say a 100%, maybe even 1,000%, to apply this with your fingers the same way that you would a serum If you use a foundation brush or a sponge, I feel like it'll absorb some of the product and you may not get your full SPF 40. But we'll talk more about getting the full coverage and all of that in my overall thoughts of this product. Now this has light coverage. You're gonna get maybe a nice little tint of color, which I appreciated because, you know, there was no white cast. Now that's not to say that if you take a picture with flash, you may not get a white cast, but in my last video where I was talking about flashback and I was like, are people still taking pictures with flash? Not very many people said that they're still taking pictures with flash. And you know, you're taking pictures with natural light. Natural light looks so good. But if you're taking pictures with flash because you're like at a photo shoot or something like that, I think it's okay to switch to a different product for that particular reason. You apply this with your fingers. The coverage is going to be very light. It's gonna look like you have a little something on. It's definitely not anything that's gonna cover any discoloration. Maybe if you have like a little bit of like redness or something, this might help to cancel that out. But if you have hyperpigmentation or if you have areas of discoloration, this is not gonna cover it. This is something that I would describe more as a light makeup kind of thing where, okay, you know, I just want to put something on my skin to make it look a little dewy, but I'm also getting a little bit of sun protection. So now, in order to get the full SPF 40 that is in this product, you have to apply enough. I generally don't think that most people are going to apply enough of a product like this to get that full SPF 40. So for that, I would say not to have this be your sole form of sun protection for your face. It's a really pretty, like a light makeup kind of day. Like, oh, you know, I want to put something on my skin, but I don't want to look too heavily made up, but I want to look nice and dewy. You know, this is a product that's going to do that for you. I do like that it works for a lot of skin types. So if you're someone with normal to dry skin, you may put this on and you'll love the dewy finish. If you have oily skin like me, the dewy finish was, you know, it was cute for like 10 minutes. But if you are someone with oily skin like me, I would definitely set this with powder, either in your T-zone or all over, depending on, you know, where you tend to get shiny. The Ilia brand has their own powder, which I haven't tried. I just used my regular, you know, makeup powder on top of it, and it was fine. This is obviously something that I would not reapply throughout the day because it does have that tint in it. If this was something that I would use in my routine, I would probably use something like the Peter Thomas Roth Mineral Powder Sunscreen to touch up throughout the day. I cannot see myself, you know, going out throughout my day and breaking out something like this and reapplying it to my face, because it can just get really messy, especially since it has the, you know, it has that pigment in there, you know? Now, when you're wearing this, you can, because it doesn't give much coverage, but it does give you that sun protection. If you wanted to, you could apply makeup on top of this, but if you're gonna do that, I would wait maybe 10 to 15 minutes before applying, you know, your makeup or your powder or anything like that on top of it. Now, the reason I say that is because mineral sunscreens, physical sunscreens, they need some time to kind of spread around and make that protective shield around the skin. And you don't want to go put something else on top of it and then your application may be spotty. So give it about 10 to 15 minutes before you do anything else. Another thing that I want to know, and this doesn't really have anything specifically to do with this product, but I just want to make sure that you guys aren't mixing anything into your sunscreen products, because it could be fine, but then it could also be degrading the sunscreen and you're not getting the proper protection. You can layer things on top of the sunscreen, again, giving it maybe 10 to 15 minutes for it to settle, and then you can put your makeup or your powder or whatever on top of it. But I wouldn't mix anything into it, because that's why we have cosmetic chemists and, you know, all these real geniuses and the scientists and everyone involved with creating a product, because they know, you know, what needs to be mixed in, how much, what temperature, and, you know, all that other stuff that's above our pay grade. So let's not make sunscreen at home, okay? Let's not do that. So my overall thoughts, I actually really like this product, although it's not for my lifestyle. I'm not someone who has light makeup days. I have no makeup whatsoever, or I have this. Now, I don't have the product on now. Right now I have on the Dior Forever 24-hour skin caring matte. I'll link my review in the description box. Because I knew I would be on camera filming this, and then I have a live that I'm doing afterwards, and then I have a photo shoot. And a product like this is not for that type of lifestyle. This is really nice if you're someone who you want the mineral sunscreen for your face. Obviously, you're not going to put something like this on your body unless you just got buckets upon buckets of money to be able to afford as many bottles as it would take to put this on your body. I wouldn't rely on the sunscreen in it as your sole form of sunscreen for your face, because I do think it would be a little difficult to reapply something like this. You can use a mineral sunscreen powder throughout the day to kind of top up, but this is not a product that I would suggest that you reapply, because I think it can get a little messy the way that it applies on the skin. And then I just can't imagine breaking this out in the middle of the day, putting it on your applying it with your fingers, and then going to wash your hands to make sure you get all the makeup off your hands. Like, that seems a bit cumbersome to me. So I think it serves up a specific purpose. I do think that we should have multiple sunscreens in our stash, because, you know, especially if you're someone who, you know, your lifestyle can change. Like, maybe one day you're out whitewater rafting and you're going to need a water resistant higher SPF, or if there's a day where you're just like, you know, I'm just going to go by the window and take some selfies, and, you know, it's a light SPF day. Whatever your lifestyle calls for, I do think it's important to have different SPFs for, you know, whatever it is that you're doing. But overall, a decent product, decent shade range. I liked how it looked on the skin. I needed to wear powder because, you know, I have oily skin. Not something that is going to be in the rotation for me, because, like I said, my lifestyle, I just either do no makeup or she has everything on, darling. So let me know in the comments. Is this a product that you have tried already? Is it something that you would try? Are you like, yo, nah, I'm steering clear of that product? Let's get all chitty chatty in the comments. Let me know your thoughts on the Ilia Super Serum Skin Tint SPF 40. Follow me on social. The links will be in the description box. And I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye, guys.